ways of saying different things. And we always talk about how important it is to be bilingual. And today we are going to talk to you about how important it is to be bicultural. If you have bilingualism, but yet you have no cultural background, you are going to be basically ineffective. And you say, well, why do I care about bilingual, bicultural? Well, why do we care about multiculturalism in our society? Well, let me show you some facts. Ignorance of foreign languages and cultures costs U.S. companies billions of dollars a year in lost sales. And you say, well, that doesn't affect me. It will affect you. It's coming out of our own pockets, our own taxpayer dollars. When our government fails to have good relations with other countries, that directly affects us. So that's huge. Also, 70% of cross-border joint ventures fail within the first 3 years. Now, that's not just cross-border business ventures. That's other kinds of ventures as well. Why? Because people cannot interact well with one another. Now, think how that plays out in your life. Ever-increasing numbers of diverse populations are here in the United States. All we have to do is look around in this class. All you have to do is look around at staff and faculty, and you say, whoa, we're different. Duh. And so as a result, if I know how you think, or I can start getting an idea of how you think or you look at the world and how I think and look at the world, what's going to happen? We're going to understand each other better, and we're going to get along better. And what does that do? That helps us be more marketable, more productive, happier citizens. Okay, with that thought, what is culture, you guys? What is culture? Basically the way, there's all sorts of special theories and ideas of what culture is, and some of them are actually books of theories of what culture is. Let's keep it simple. The last one says, culture, the way in which we are programmed to behave. And it's so much a part of who we are that it's passed down from generation to generation. We are part of culture. Just recently I had one of my friends say to me, we're all the same. That's laughable, you guys. We're not all the same. Everything is culture. Everything is about our differences. It's also about what connects us as people, but we're different. All right. When we look at culture and we look at the iceberg theory, what do you see when you look at an iceberg, you guys? What do you know about icebergs? Only what we've read about it. I've never met one personally, but what about icebergs? When they say, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg, what are they saying? You only see a small portion of the iceberg, right? Well, culture is sort of like that. Think about the things when we look at somebody else. What can we tell about a person just by seeing the part of the iceberg that's above the water? Well, we can see what they eat, right? We can see how they dress. Help me out. What else can we see? Color, right? The way they wear their hair. What else? How we talk. The language we speak. How I might use one grammar form as opposed to another grammar form. But basically, if I only go there and I know that my friend eats tacos or my other friend eats chiles, that's pretty tip of the iceberg, isn't it? It's not really telling me who he is as a person, right? So if you see what I eat or how I dress or how I behave in public, basically that keeps us at the ethnic fest level, right? When we go to ethnic fest at Mecca or wherever, at different places, Mexican fiesta, Italian fiesta, that's an ethnic fest, you guys. That's not really relating to how a person thinks or feels or what they're like, the substance of a person. Everything that really matters is below the waterline, isn't it? Absolutely. How we think, how we understand, how we relate to time, how we interact with each other, how we feel about family, how we feel about our friends, our values, and so on. And to me, what's hidden is so much more important and so much more interesting, isn't it? If I can get into your mind, into your values and so on, I'll truly understand you. Vice versa, right? That's what makes a person. And that's what matters. Bennett's model of intercultural competencies. Basically, there was a theorist and a man who did a lot of studies named Bennett, Milton Bennett, and he came up with this model of intercultural competencies. It basically tells you where you are in your development of relating to other diverse populations. And basically he came up with two different stages. The first stage is called ethnocentric stage. Now what do you know about ethnocentric, you guys?
I believe in your ways the right way.
Oh, bingo. So ethnocentric is, who's the center of the world? Yo, right? I am. I'm the most important, and my way is the right way, exactly. So if I'm ethnocentric, it's all about me and about my way of thinking. And there's basically three levels that Bennett talks about. Ethnocentric stage, he says the denial stage is the absolute aversion or avoidance of other groups. Anything that's different from you, not only do you not admit that there's any differences, you actually completely and totally avoid that group. Now, Milton said, you know what? Probably no one totally lives at that stage. But it's there, the total disinterest of another group. Just by nature, we have so many diverse populations here and diverse people. Just by nature, we have to acknowledge other people, that we're different. But where a lot of people spend most of their life is in the defense level. So if we get out of our total disinterest of other groups, then we're going to get into the defense system. Now, what is the defense system? It's all about us and them. And of course, what? We are superior to them. Well, you know how they do it. They, they're like this. And if they would just be a little bit more like us, But now think about it. That's not just with races, you guys. That's with everything. That's with, we can make divisive groups in just about everything. Women, there's a whole group of women, and you say, oh, you know what? She, and that group over there. And that can be really dangerous thinking. Where does that play out? It plays out on the streets of every city here in the United States. In what? Gang warfare. Us and them. If you're not us, then you're them, and we don't like you. Dangerous thinking, isn't it? Violent thinking. So highly critical of others. If we move up just a little bit from that, we get to minimization, and we start talking in absolutes. I remember the first time that somebody said to me, what? You don't eat chile? Don't all Mexicanos eat chile? I'm going, what? Chile? The idea that everybody in a group does that. I went to Mexico, and people say, what? You don't eat hot dogs? No, I don't eat hot dogs. But the idea that everybody from a group does that, right? That's silly. And yet we do it. Don't we? We oftentimes will say, oh my gosh, they would be so great if they would just do this. And the big thing about this level is we want to change other people to be more like us. You're all right, but if you would just start eating hot dogs like us, you'd be much better. I would like you a lot better. Now, historically, what big entity has been like that? Can you think of it?
Our country.
Bingo. Our country. Our government, historically, has said to us, has said to other countries, you know what? You're all right, but if you would just have a democracy like our democracy, we would like you so much better. If you just ran your businesses like we ran our businesses, we would like you so much better. And guess what? We'll fund you then. That's a pretty narrow-minded way to think, right? I'm going to hang with you if you act a little bit more like me. What's that all about? Now, we can get to another level, and that's called the ethno-relative stage. Now, how does that change, you guys? Ethnocentric, who's the center of the world? I am, right? Ethno-relative, who's the center of the world? Everyone, because suddenly your reality and you and you and you, all of you are important, and your reality is just as relative as my reality. Now, how many of you remember that or have seen that little bumper sticker that everybody is using these days? It's blue and it says one word. The first day I saw it, I went, oh, kumbaya, what the heck is that all about? But the more I see it, the more I go, exactly, exactly. What is it? What does it say on it?
Coexist.
Coexist. Coexist. And that basically is this next stage, which is the acceptance level. What it is basically is you're curious about other groups, you tolerate other groups, you actually have some interest in other groups, but you might not change to be like that group, but you certainly are respectful. And it's basically, what does everybody say? Okay, let's just agree to disagree on that. All right? You see it this way, I see it this way, but I have total respect for what you think. I have total respect for what you eat or how you look at that piece of the world. And what I say is that's basically coexistence at its finest. Now think about how different this world would be if all of us lived at that level. Wouldn't it be different? Because if I said, you said to me, okay, I don't agree with you, but it's okay if you think like that. And I don't agree with you, but if you think like that, it's okay. Do you realize how much nicer of a world this would be? Big time. If we want to move up from that level and we want to do one better, we try to get to the adaptation level. And at the adaptation level, we actually start to see the world through different eyes. I start walking in somebody else's shoes, and I say, man, I never understood why you felt that way. But guess what? I do understand what you're thinking now. I understand because I've walked your shoes, I've started to hear your stories, I've started to see the world through different eyes, and I like what I see, and I'm going to change some of my reality. That's really neat. And when you have that metamorphosis, or when you have that transformation, all of a sudden you go, I'm a different person. I'm a better person because I can see through your eyes, or through your eyes. How do you get to that level? Well, through a number of things. I'm sure a lot of things that you do, having friends from other cultures, really listening to people, valuing other people. One of the biggest ways to become adaptive in your behavior, travel abroad, right? Study abroad. That's huge because suddenly you see the world through other eyes. The last stage, which is pretty high and lofty, is integration, where you freely move about like a global nomad. Now, honestly, you guys, wouldn't all of us like to be at that acceptance or adaptation level? You want to know the truth? A lot of times we move back and forth through a lot of those different stages. But our hope is to do what? To stay more and more time, spend more time at the acceptance level and less time back at the minimization level. I'd like to believe that I'm very accepting, that I've adapted to new cultures, but I'll be driving along in my car and all of a sudden somebody crosses in front of me and right away I fall back into old behaviors, right? We have these records of the way we grew up and how we think, right? And all of a sudden, oh man, you go, where did that come from? So we have to constantly be on ourselves about how we feel and how we look at the world, right? And you check yourself, and you check each other on it, all right? With that idea, there's a number of mindsets needed for studying cross-cultural skills. And we don't have to go through all of them, but the biggest thing is when we're learning about other cultures, the big thing is there's no right or wrong. The big thing is about what? Understanding, exactly, connecting with others. And my gosh, you guys have to have a good sense of humor because I can't tell you how many times I have connected with other cultures, other people, other languages, and I've said, I just totally screwed up. Oh my gosh, I just blew that. Let me give you an example. One thing that you're always supposed to do is when I first met the family of my husband, who is Mexican national, I gave everybody a hug. I did everything that I was supposed to, right? You know, go to each person, oh, mucho gusto, blah, blah, blah. And guess what I did? When I left, I went, just like a good Americana, what did I do? Exacto, I went, hasta luego, out the door. And as we're walking up the street, who was my fiancé at that time, he's now my esposo, he said to me, well, yo creo que todo salió bien. I think everything went pretty well. Except though, you really need to go to each person and hug them and say goodbye. Oh, gosh. So, do I screw up? Big time. There's a lot of time. But did I laugh at myself? I go, oh yeah. So the next time I saw everybody, I go, okay, ya aprendí. I learned something. And then I went up to everybody and I hugged each person, right? So I learned, but you got to laugh at yourself because culture is funny. Sometimes you do some crazy things. Next. If we're going to understand other people, don't we have to understand ourselves first? Absolutely. And when we understand Americans and how we look at ourselves, I'm always amazed at how we really don't know ourselves. We don't know ourselves. And I didn't know myself until I actually studied how we are. Help me and see if Americans are like this. They say that Americans basically represent 1/8 of the world's perspective. 1/8 of the world's perspective. The rest of the world thinks, 7/8 of the world doesn't think like we do. Whoa, that's a lot, you guys. That's a lot. So we are absolutely a minority in the way we see the world. So how are we? All right. First of all, we're future-oriented, and we're all about planning and goals. Are we like that? You guys, if anybody doubts that, you know that people come from all over the world to figure out how to plan their life's course. We even have life coaches. Why? So we can get to the future in a better way. How many of you have seen that commercial for, I don't even know what the commercial is, but it's a little baby crawling along the ground. And what are they doing? And the father's sitting back saying, he's starting to think about her college years, he's thinking about her marriage years, and so on. It's about life insurance or something like that. You guys, much of the world goes, thank God I have this little child, and oh, my honey, and that's it. They're not thinking about tomorrow. They're not thinking about 40 years down the road. Thank God for today, right? But we do a lot of thinking about the future. How many of you have been sleeping at night and all of a sudden you happen to wake up and what do you start thinking about? Ooh, all those things you have to do tomorrow. And not just tomorrow, but the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And pretty soon you think, oh my God, what if I don't graduate from college? You know, if I don't get this homework assignment done, then I won't pass that class, and then I won't pass that, and then if I don't pass that class, then I'm going to fail the whole semester, and then they won't give me my financial aid, and we can just push this snowball until it's huge, right at the bottom of our feet in the bed, right? Until it becomes a monster. Why? Because our culture actually makes us think very futuristically. You know, we worry about the future. Utilitarian. Man is supreme and he's perfectible. You guys, we are the kings and queens of self-improvement. People from all over the world come here to see how they can perfect themselves and become better individuals. Now, is anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. But are we ever going to be perfect, you guys? No. Okay, we can sure try, right? And when we try, did you know that because we try to be so perfect, there's all sorts of things that fall out from trying to be perfect. What is it? It starts with an S and ends with an S. Stress. Yes, we have a lot of stress on our shoulders because you're like, S and S. Okay, stress. Absolutely. We are very stressed individuals. And all sorts of studies show that about American culture, that we have a lot of stress on our shoulders because we try to be perfect. And we do not stand for people who are not trying to be all they can be. Right? Doggone it. You got to step up. So progress and change. If I say the word to you, change, what do you think of? Is it good or bad? Absolutely. Here in the United States, if I say change, change is a good thing. Matter of fact, our president even ran on that platform, right? Change that you can believe in. Now, let's say that we are roommates, and I call you on the phone, I said, I changed the color of our living room. And you said, oh, you can assume that I changed it for the better. Well, you come home and you go, oh my God, what happened in here? Well, I didn't change it for the better. So the rest of the world kind of is wary of change. Have any of you ever had a boss where they came in, new boss, and they changed something that was not broken? Where they, oh, we're going to get this new system, and it was all in the name of progress and change. And you go, and you spend how many months changing the system? And then you find out what? It's a terrible system, right? So the rest of the world is weary and very wary of change. We love change. Oh, we're just going to change it up. Matter of fact, new shoes, right? Well, your shoes are good. Yeah, but I need some new shoes, right? We like change. We change up boyfriends, girlfriends. We change up furniture. We change up our clothes, right? We have a great capitalistic market because of our view of change. Change is good, all right? All right, with that, we're all about competition and informality. Now, Senor Nye, put your feet up. Put your feet up. Kick back. Kick your shoes off, right? Now, if somebody from the rest of the world would come in and see Senor Nye with his shoes and feet up on a table, what would they do? They'd go, oh my gosh, how absolutely disrespectful. For us, we say, let's be casual. Casual isn't necessarily a good thing in 7/8 of the world, you guys. Casual is what? Disrespectful. And they think you're like a brute, that you've been born and raised in a barn. I'll be darned. Technology and science. Well, with the competition idea, we're not competitive, are we?
Yes.
Okay, I say to you, tell me your name again. Mateo. So Mateo and I say, Mateo, let's go over to Major Goldsmith and I'll invite you to a cerveza, all right? So let's go over there. I have my car, he has his car. And you know what? I'm just going to drive over there. We'll meet you over there, all right? I get there first, all right? And I'm sitting there and I have my cerveza. And he finally comes in, and what am I going to say to you? I'll probably say, what took you so long? And my favorite one, beat you. Beat what? What did I win? You know, nothing. But why was it important to say, beat you? We say that all the time. And I go, beat you in what? Right? No había nada de importancia, right? But we do it. We make everything into a competencia. And we get fierce with competition. I see it in myself. I go, who is that person? When we compete, I'm like, yes, yes. Have you done the fly swatter activity? Tell Senora that you need to do the fly swatter activity. All right? So you will get competitive. Even those of you who aren't that competitive, you go, oh my goodness, where did that come from? So we are, as a society. And that has risen us, taken us to greatness sometimes, right? But it can get a little much. Technology and science. If you are sick, if you have a cold, what is the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go to a doctor. Aren't you going to drink a natural healing tea? Aren't you going to go into the backyard and get some natural herbs to make? No? Aren't you going to go to parts of our city where you can get natural medicine, or no? To a curandero maybe, or no? You're going to go to a doctor, exactly, which is different than much of the world. We are all about science and technology. We believe that science and technology is going to solve our problems of the future. Control. The other day we were at, my husband and I were eating breakfast out in a restaurant, and we were thinking about the idea of control. I go, well, it's one thing if you control your own self and you control time and you can control your actions. That's a good thing. But we have gotten so controlling about ourselves and our time and our little Palm Pilots and, okay, I'm going to eat lunch with you, but I only have 12 to 1, and then after that I have something else to do. Okay. We not only try to control ourselves, what else do? We try to control others. So there was this woman who was eating or going to order, and her husband was just going to order, and he said, you know what, I'm going to have that Grand Slam, and I'd like double bacon on that. And he was just so happy. You could just tell. He was just waiting to eat their breakfast. And all of a sudden, she took her glasses, and she slid them down, and she goes, you're going to order that? Didn't the doctor just tell you that you have high cholesterol? And he goes, oh, all right, I'll have that skinny slam thing. And he changed. So not only do we try to control ourselves, right, and our diets and everything, we try to control others as well. Aren't we good? That's pretty good. All right. Next, efficiency, productivity. Let's go, go, go. Competence, personal freedom, and individuality. Do all of you think you're special? Barney told you that you're special, right? Yeah, the purple dinosaur? He said you're special, and you're in every way. And you are. You are special. So it's all about individuals. Matter of fact, Bon Jovi even sings, "It's my life," right? And I can do what I want with it, right? It's all about me. And you can go where you want, and you are an individual and free to do what you want. All right? Last thing, work. Work is very, very important to the average American. If I ask you, tell me something about yourself, what's the first thing you're going to say? Probably what you do. And I have tried to break that mold for years, you guys. I've tried to say something other than, oh, I'm a teacher. I identify with my profession, you guys. And I've traveled the world, and guess what I do? I'm supposedly bicultural, bilingual, multicultural, and so on. And somebody will say, tell me something about yourself, and I jump and I say, I'm a teacher. Wait a minute, I'm a mother, I love to do this, I'm a wife, all those other things that are important, right? And what do I say? I'm a teacher. There we go. All right. If we know ourselves, then it would be just as important to know others, right? Others. Traditional cultures. Now, I don't mean traditional like a traditional conservative. What I'm talking about is that 7/8 of the world that think differently than us. All right, you guys. First one. Read that first one with me. Greater, you guys. You're with me. 1, 2, 3. A greater appreciation for beliefs and social relationships. What does that mean? If we value work, we value competition, we value money, what do they value?
Beliefs and social relationships.
If I have a chance to work a Sunday, but that's going to take me away from you guys or from my family, my friends, will I work Sunday?
No.
No, because money cannot buy friendship. Money cannot help me interact better with my family. Relationships trump money and all sorts of things. All right, so relationships. Value is placed on established customs, authority and old ways. You say, like, what kind of old ways? Traditions. Every Sunday, we're going to get together at Grandma's house. We're going to eat dinner together. First, we're going to go to church, and then we're going to eat. And then a lot of times we'll watch a movie, blah, blah, blah. And that's important. And everybody knows we're going to do that. Value the past and live in the present. Now, how does that differ from what we do? What do we worry about? The future. What are they concerned about? Right now. Now, as I look at all of you guys, am I worrying about what I'm going to do tomorrow? Or even what I'm doing after this presentation? Absolutely not. Right now, I am 100% attending to you. Absolutely 100%. I am not thinking about tomorrow. And all studies show that the absolute best place to live your life is in the present. It's the least stressful. It's the least worrisome. If we live in the future, it's stressful. If we live in the past, it's stressful because don't you start worrying about, oh, I should have, and I should have done that, and I could have done that, and I should, and you start beating yourself up. So if you live in the present and let tomorrow take care of tomorrow, all of a sudden you go, you know what? I feel really chill. I feel really good about this. Great importance placed on the family. How many of you have Latino friends? Is family important? Big time. And it's not just family, this little family, nuclear family. No, it's family all around, right? Everybody. The importance of religion and spirituality. You may not be a certain religion, but if you live in many parts of the world, you have a spirituality with nature or with your creator that many of us here do not enjoy. And it's about just knowing that, the next one, that we have kind of a preordained way of looking at life, fatalism. And you say, well, that sounds pretty terrible. No, we try to control our destiny. We try to control everything. And what do? They try to just let things happen as they happen. They just know no matter how much you do, you guys, you might not be able to control your future. All right? So, preordained. Respect for elders. And work, well, work is basically an economic necessity. You put food, you work really hard because you have to put food on the table for your family. What a concept, right? It's not to buy those new shoes. No, just to eat. Feelings over practicality, conformity. And the last one is really important. Help me read that last one. 1, 2, 3, here we go. No separation. Wait. Try it again. No separation between self, family, community, and nation. You guys, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, instead of looking at myself as an individual, first of all, I'm a daughter. I'm a wife. I'm part of my family. I'm part of this community, this learning community, which is called MATC. I'm part of Milwaukee. I'm very connected to everybody. Let me give you an example. When my son comes home, my 7-year-old comes home and he says, Mom, I've got a bad news for you. Here's a slip from the teacher. What do I say? Me permite? I go, you know what, Josue? When you do this, you're not only representing yourself, you're representing all of us, the Esparza family. And what the teacher is basically going to think is that we're raising you in a really rotten way. And we're not like that. So you represent all of us. My girls think that too. When they're out there, they're not just representing themselves. They're representing everybody in our clan, everybody in our family. So can you see how that would be a little more, gracias, that would be a little more pressuresome than, what's the phrase that I hate so much? S-U-C-K-S for you. Because what you're saying basically is, you know what? That's your bad. You're going to rise and fall on your own. Wrong. All of you are connected to a family, to a group. And you're responsible not only for yourself, but for everybody and how people view all of you. Isn't it? And you say, no, that's not very American. Next. Now, does that mean that if you're an American that all of you thinks the American way? No, what does it show right there? It shows that a little bit of us, is still traditional values, right? The traditional part. And if we were to go to Latin America or the Middle East or the Spanish Mediterranean area, you would see a lot of traditional behaviors and perspective and just a little bit of American culture. And look at that continuum. All the way along the line, what do you see for European cultures? What does it show? Yeah, a balance of both, right? A balance of both. Okay, look at the next one. How does this play out for the U.S.? Different areas, for example, let's just take work from the U.S. Work here in the U.S., check it out. Taken seriously, it's a source of stress. Work harder and faster. We live to work. We're competitive. Oh, aren't we good at setting goals? 5-year goals. Results in doing, quality control, informality. We talk directly to the boss, talk about work outside of work. The thing that always amazed me was when my husband said, you know what? We took a break today from this long meeting that we had, and we go outside, and guess what? Those crazy Americans, they talk about work when they're on break. Why do they talk about work when they're on break? I go, they like work. He goes, no, but it's called break. And I said, yeah, but break to talk about more work. He goes, no, los gringos están locos. So quality control, we're all about, if we can get better salary somewhere else, what are we going to do? We are going to jump ship. We are going to go so fast, we will leave dust behind, right? Right? Because it's about money. It's about mobility. Next, how does much of the world look at work? Right? There's the boss and there's the workers. We're more formal with our bosses. We're not buddies. The boss is the boss. We have great camaraderie among people. It's not about competition. It's about pulling together, working together. By the way, we spend millions of dollars each year trying to train American workers to work together more. Why? Because we don't know how to work together. We don't like to pull together. We're about individuality, right? Sure, so we spend a lot of money trying to work together. Don't talk about work outside of work. When you're on break, you talk about other things. You talk about football, you talk about anything, but don't talk about work. Long-term loyalty. You might get more money over there, but it's not about the money, it's about the what? The relationship, right? So if I have a boss who really treats me well, I have coworkers that are awesome. The average American will take more money and sacrifice his happiness. Much of the world will not take more money. They worry about their happiness, their contentment, more than the money. Go figure. There are people who think like that. All right? Long-term loyalty, status quo. Don't be changing everything up on me. Let's try to make changes, but slowly. Don't get crazy. All right? Let's think this through. And work is not a great source of stress. When we go to Mexico and we talk about, I have people or students who will say, oh my God, I'm just so stressed at work. Oh my God, I just get so stressed at that job. It's terrible. The Mexicanos look at them going, why? It's just a job. It's just a job. Imagine if we just thought, it's just a job. It puts food on the table. Different. Food. All right, you guys, how do we eat food here? Fast and furious, right? We eat it fast. Time is of essence. It's got to be convenient. We got to have plenty of it, right? Good food. Not good food necessarily, just a lot of it. Cheap, right? Working lunch. I have to tell you, when my husband was working at another place, they said, okay, Hoem, we are going to have a working lunch. And he looked at them and he goes, a working lunch? Working lunch. And it just didn't go together in his Latino mind. He goes, working lunch. And he finally said, well, I think you guys can work and I'll have my lunch. Because they just don't go together. In much of the world, working and lunch are two different things, you guys. Work is work, and lunch is enjoyment, you guys. Not working lunch. That's crazy. Only Americans would think that one up. On the go, and we set the table before dinner because we know just who is going to be there. If you would show up with a friend without telling your mom, what would she say?
Why didn't you tell me?
Why did you call me? At first she would be very nice, and she said, oh yeah, come on in. Deborah, can I talk to you a minute? In the kitchen. Right? Why didn't you call me? At least because I gotta have enough food, right? Next, rest of the world. Traditional. It is an important social event. Has anybody eaten with a Latino family? Tell me about that.
They always in order, sit together, wait on everybody to get there before they eat. Like every week they have a family dinner or something.
That's right. And it's about
Family.
family. It's about connections. It's about, being there, connecting with your family, eating plenty of time. Who's rushed? Oh my gosh, why do you have to eat and go right away? What? Just sit down, relax. Gosh, you're so nervous. Oh. Time to build relationships. No previous place settings because we don't know how many people are going to be there, right? I can bring you if we're at Major Goldsby's and we're having our set of base and all of a sudden I go, oh, I gotta go. I'm going to bring you along. I said, come on, I got to go home, I got to eat, but come with me. Okay. All right, then we're home. A ver, love is given through food. Con el amor entra, right? El amor entra con la comida. The more you eat, the more I'm loving you up, right? So I just love it when you eat at my house. You ate another taco, now an enchilada. Giving you abrazos like crazy. Sí, porque comes.
That's what I was just gonna say. They make you eat.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You want some more?
Yes, because they're just hugging you up, and you ate some more. Oh my class. Would you invite him back next Sunday? We like him, all right, because he eats. Next. Now, this can happen with all sorts of areas in your life, every area of your life. Think about social gatherings. How do we decide what we're going to do when we have a party, you guys? Oh, come on, you guys. The little luau that you're going to have, and everybody's got to wear their Hawaiian shirt, and we send out little invitations, and then we have these little decorations for the Hawaiian luau. Mexicans go, wow, that's interesting. Because what do? They don't send out invitations. All we have to do with one famous, that's right, a phone call. Hey, viernes, mi casa, right? Oh, absolutely. And what can you be sure that you're going to have at a party in much of the world? Música, comida, good friendship, fun. And here in the United States, if we get really high off the hog, what will we do? We'll put starts at 8 o'clock, and then we do what? Oh my God, we're really getting crazy. Put a question mark. Oh my gosh. And so we're open-ending the back end. Woohoo! You guys, we do not put start and end times because a fiesta is a fiesta is a fiesta, and it's going to happen Friday, and bring who you want, and we're going to have an all-out party, right? None of this luau stuff. But have you ever seen Latino parties where we have this tiny little space, but we will make it a dance floor, right? Because música and baile is absolutely a must. We've left places, I love Americanos, gringos, but we'll leave a party, and my husband will say, what was that, a meeting? I go, no, that wasn't a meeting, that was a party. He goes, that wasn't a party, there was no música. Well, people were standing around with their cerveza. Yeah, they thought they were having a good time. You go, okay, está bien. No, a fiesta is this, right? And then even if you have a little space, you dance around, you know, and you bump into somebody else because it's about closeness, right? It's not about, okay, arm's length away. No, it's about standing right close to the person you're right next to and talking to them. So as you get into the next one, all right? How does this play out? Next. All right. Which perspective is best, you guys? Neither one. They both have pros and cons, believe me. I've lived both pros and cons in my household, which is bicultural, bilingual household. And some things drive me crazy about our society, and other things drive me crazy about the Latino society. But as a blend, I love both of them equally as much. And I'm a better person because I have two perspectives. And you guys are becoming better people because you have multiple perspectives. And you are going to be able to work with more diverse groups and become more marketable and more effective at everything you do. Last idea. The final thought of the day is this. The golden rule has always been treat others as you want to be treated, right? But I say there's a new rule. The platinum rule is treat others as they want to be treated. Wouldn't that make a lot more sense? If you are truly diverse, if you are truly multiple perspective and multicultural, you will treat somebody else as they want to be treated. And how will you know that? Ask them, right? Get to know the other person. I'm going to ask you, is this okay with you? Is this all right? That's about respect, and that's about relationships. As you go through your week, and as you go through your semester, and go through your life, always keep in mind that there's many ways to look at the world. And try to walk that multicultural path.